Hi everyone, this is Linda Pratt and I am here today with another episode of Ask, where Holyoke residents talk with our city employees and members of boards and commissions about the work they do in the city and why the public should know about it. I'm here today with Lisa Ball. Lisa is our city solicitor. Welcome, Lisa, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It occurred to me this morning when I was preparing to come talk to you that I didn't really know what a solicitor means or what a solicitor does. So why are you called the city solicitor?
Well, a solicitor is like the chief legal officer for a city. It's something that probably dates back several decades. The city solicitor would have been created for Holyoke, for example, in the Holyoke City Charter. A lot of cities around here also have solicitors or town attorneys. So it is the city attorney, but it is the city solicitor.
And what are the primary functions of the city solicitor's office that you think it's important the public know about?
So we do a lot of things. Every day is different. We represent every department in the city. So we represent the police department, the fire department, the DPW. We do work at the city council for various subcommittees of the city council, every single office in the city, and also, of course, the mayor as he needs things.
So when you say you represent the police department or the fire department, what does that mean? Does that mean if someone has a problem with them, or when you're representing them, how do you do that?
It could be several different things. It could be personnel related. It could be, a disciplinary type of issue where they need to consult us. It could be just interpreting contract language. It could be that somebody has an issue with somebody in one of the departments and maybe they bring in legal just to ask how to resolve a particular situation. It could be litigation, and we would represent them in any litigation. It could be any number of things. I work very closely with the heads of all of the departments.
Okay, and I know those of us who have watched city council meetings know that there are frequently attorneys present at city council meetings because they get asked questions pretty often. And you also are involved with drawing up ordinances and other kinds of legal language, is that right?
That's correct. So we have, at this point, we have primarily one attorney who's part-time who handles almost all of the city council meetings and the subcommittee meetings. And that's good because it's consistency and it's the same person. We're helping him, obviously, to do what needs to be done during the day, but he is available to city council on the fly as they have questions which, come up frequently. And, we answer what we can if we know the answers, and if we don't, then, oftentimes that's what leads to legal opinions being written.
So how many people are currently employed in your office?
So we have 3 full-time attorneys, including myself, 2 part-time attorneys, and 1 full-time paralegal.
Okay, and are you fully staffed at this time?
I would say we are fully staffed at this point, yes.
So I know you've been able to bring on some additional people over the last couple of years. And what are some of the things that your office can do now with the staffing that you have that you weren't able to do previously?
Yeah, so when I came in 2021, it was during COVID. It was right after Mayor Murphy was here as the acting mayor. I came in to be the acting city solicitor at that point, and there was only one other staff person in the solicitor's office. So that made it difficult because even with 6 people in that office right now, I wouldn't say we're getting everything done like as quickly as we would like, but I think things move a lot faster than they once did. Back then, we really had to just pick and choose what was the important issue that day to deal with. And it was very difficult to get a lot of things done with only 2 lawyers. You can imagine
I didn't realize it had been that short-staffed when
Yes,
you
yes.
first started.
Yes, it was.
I know in my neighborhood, because I live in Ward 1, there have been a couple properties that finally got taken to housing court. And I believe one of your attorneys talked at a city council meeting about that. So just from a neighborhood perspective, I think those of us who live in the city are very glad the city was finally able to help get some of those properties back on the tax rolls and into the hands of people who want to rehab them.
Absolutely. I mean, so having the 5 attorneys in the office, it's also allowed everybody to kind of have their own niche, or, something comes in and things come in, dozens of things can come in a day that we have to deal with. And if it's housing and it's zoning or anything to do with planning or real estate, then Jane is handling that. She handles lots of other things, but those are that's the thing that she does. So she spends a lot of time in housing. We have procurement issues and contract issues, and we review things for the school department. And that's Kathy Degnan that's doing a lot of that, in addition to doing, some of our litigation that comes in. And we have an attorney that's doing only litigation right now. So she is part-time, Jean Liddy, and she's doing all of our litigation. Some of it is spilling over to some of the other lawyers, but for the most part, we're not really sending anything to outside counsel the way we used to.
Oh, that's probably a good thing for the city. It's a good thing for your department as well.
It's really a great thing for the city because we have spent a lot of money in the past on outside lawyers, and really because we had no choice. Litigation takes up a lot of time. It can be lengthy, and it usually is lengthy, and just responding to discovery and having to write, briefs and answer interrogatories, it's very time consuming. So those kind of cases were always sent out to outside counsel and at a cost, but we really didn't have a choice then.
I've noticed that frequently you'll be asked for a legal opinion. Can you just explain to us what a legal opinion is?
It's an opinion, just as it says. It's our opinion on a certain subject. We all do them. They're not assigned to any one particular lawyer. Usually it's whoever has a little bit of time in their schedule that can do it. It could be on any number of subjects. I mean, it's all of the counselors tend to ask for them, and it just depends on what's on the agenda that night. So we write opinions on zoning and the CPA, about other employees and what their responsibilities are, issues about unions. I mean, it just runs the gamut of everything in the city that goes on. We tend to get involved in having to write an opinion at some point or another.
And when a lot of people think about an opinion, they think about, well, this is just my opinion. But what goes into a legal opinion?
Well, it is still an opinion. We sometimes will write an opinion, and if it is, I don't want to say one is any more important than another. Some of them are easier to write than others, where you write it and you know that's the answer, and you have the support for the opinion. There are other issues that you find yourself looking at both sides, as you should. It could be this or it could be that, and what do I think is the stronger argument? I can argue it both ways. Those are the tricky ones. So the tricky ones we tend to all get involved with. Somebody will write it, but the rest of us are reviewing it and making suggestions, and we try to come to a unanimous opinion, and we always do in the end. What do we all agree? Are we thinking this is the stronger argument or that's the stronger argument? So there's a lot of time that's put into it. We don't, a serious issue, we don't push an opinion out in a day necessarily if it's something we really feel like we need to put that extra time into.
So are you looking at previous decisions that have come down through the courts? What kinds of things do you take into consideration?
Yeah, a lot of things we need to look at. I mean, we'll look at our city's charter when it's applicable, the city ordinances, state law, case law, to make the best argument possible.
Right. So I think that really helps people understand. It's not just something you sit down and go, oh, well, this is what I think, and write it out.
Right.
But it's something that you've really researched.
Right.
So when it's turned into whoever's asked for it, they know that there's been a lot of work that's gone into it.
Right. And department heads can ask for those types of opinions. It's not just city council that asks for them. I mean, we write opinions for department heads, for the mayor if he asks. I mean, a lot of them come through city council, but certainly we have times that we also write them for other department heads when they need it.
I know earlier you said that you still can't get everything done as quickly as you would like to. What are some things that you wish you had more time for? Sometimes I don't close my door during the day too much unless I really need to dig into something and read something. I like to be able to talk to everybody about what's going on during the day, but it is so busy. The phone doesn't stop ringing. I mean, people do stop in and they need help with various things. It's never a set schedule. No day is the same. I don't go in saying I'm going to get these 10 things done, because it just doesn't happen. I make myself lists a lot, but I don't seem to get through them all because just things happen. Just during the week, there's always something. Last week we had a very busy week and things happened that kind of knocked us off our track of how we were planning to spend the week. And, litigation can come in, and that then is that's something that has to be dealt with immediately. So I think to have more time to get through those lists, I guess, but it requires, working outside of, your normal work week. And I have to say, we all really do. It's great because when I have a question that comes up on the weekend, nobody says to me, it's Saturday, don't email me about this. Everybody on the staff is really terrific about, this is an emergency, can I have everybody chime in on what they think on a certain issue? Well, and I think that since many of your attorneys do have to work in the evening because they have to attend city meetings, having some flexibility in your schedule is probably really important.
It is. I mean, we do have a little bit of flexibility, but the 3 that are full-time are there. We have a paralegal that's full-time and she's there. But there are night meetings that have to be attended. As I mentioned, Attorney Bissonette does do most of them, but we all are required to go to some of them at one point or another, just if they just need somebody there. It's, not every meeting needs a lawyer there, but sometimes whoever's having the meeting can anticipate. There's a legal question we think is going to come up. We'd like to have legal there, and so we're happy to go there, and certainly happy that, we have the option of Zoom, as we talked about earlier.
Right. There was something else I wanted to ask you. I got to take a look at my notes here. Oh, I know what it was. So when I think about lawyers, I think about many different areas of legal practice. So how is municipal law different? What are do people have to research that before they come into municipal law? Are you just learning as you go because there's always new things coming up?
Well, it's very different than when I was in private practice. When you're focusing on one area of the law, I did a lot of criminal law before I came back to do this job, and you get very good at it because it's consistent. You're making similar arguments. You're going into court. You have similar cases. Municipal law spans so many different kinds of law. You really can't be an expert at any one area. Even lawyers that do municipal law that aren't municipal lawyers all sort of specialize in different areas of municipal law because it is so expansive. There's collective bargaining and zoning and real estate, litigation, housing, and just civil service. I mean, I could go on and on. There is so much that you don't always have the answers. And what's fun is no day is the same. There's always something new that comes in, and it's great when you have the answer, but sometimes it's kind of fun to say, hey, I don't have this answer. Let's find out what the answer is, because people come up with questions a lot, and it makes our day fun because we can never say we're there and not having a good time, because it's not boring. It's fast-paced, but not a lot of court work, but just a lot of interesting work and a lot of interesting issues.
When I talk with other department heads, I always ask if there's someone in their department that speaks Spanish, but I don't imagine you have a lot of interaction with the public at large. Is that correct?
Not a lot. We do not have anybody that speaks Spanish. I myself wish that I did know that as a second language. Had I known that I would have lived, here in Massachusetts for the last 25 years, I probably would have taken more Spanish classes when I was in school, but we do not have anybody in our office. But it isn't so much of an issue. We don't get a lot of public that comes in, but we do get some, and we have somebody in personnel that's right next to the law department that does speak. So if we need that.
I know most of all the departments I've talked to do have Spanish-speaking employees, and I think that's really important for the citizens to know that if you contact our city departments, you should be able to speak with someone who does speak Spanish. So, is there anything else you'd like to add, Lisa?
I can't think of anything.
Oh, well, thank you so much for agreeing to talk with me today, and you have a very busy office, and so I will let you get back to work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.